I want you to think about this question and leave your comment in the comment section below. Name me one nation that the Chinese has ever enslaved. Had them working the fields, had them working the plantations, stripped them of their ancestral lineage, gave them their own names, gave them their religion, forced upon them their names, religions, practices, customs, culture, etc. Name one nation that the Chinese has ever done this to in the history of China's existence. Let's start there. All right, welcome to SouFLoTV again, everybody. It's your host with the most. This video right here, this is all me. This is me just speaking my mind, okay? And of course, I'll cut some corner and I'm going to round up my words in some places, so you're going to have to read between the lines in some places. And I welcome your comments in the comments section below. All right, here we go. So, the ambassador to the United States of America recently changed position. So we have a new U.S. ambassador in Jamaica. The U.S. ambassador before this one, he was very quiet. He didn't say much, right? This one came in ringing bells. He came in like a bull in a candy shop, like a bull in a china shop, knocking over all the glass, smashing up everything, pointing fingers, went straight to the Gleaner, which is one of our national newspapers, and had a full-on interview in which he said a whole bunch of things, to include calling China the two-headed dragon and telling Jamaica to be aware of China. He not only said to be aware of China, he also went into some details. He said he had proof, and y'all don't want me to show you the kind of proof I have of the places that they have taken over people's ports. That's your port of entry, your waterway, you know, where your ships come in and dock and all that. They have taken over so many of these from different nations who were unable to pay them back loans. Now, the funny thing is, when I did that video, my audience members, one of the funniest questions that was put there was, okay, so China, the US is here to warn us about China. So who is here to warn us about the US? I found that extremely funny and I had to laugh, right? Could it be that this is, I'm going to give you a couple of scenarios. Could it be that this is strategic military movements, or could it be that this is world domination and the race to be number one? Now, I've done some studies and I'm starting to realize that the USA is no longer number one, right? So it's pretty interesting, but we can justify the whole, well, Jamaica is very, very close to the United States of America in terms of land distance. So, for instance, if China, say, takes over property in Jamaica, right, and owns its waterways, its entrance, exit points, so on and so forth, could it be possible that under military engagement, China is able to access the United States, whether by way of missile or by way of spying or by way of any kind of ways that they fight wars? Because they don't just fight wars with guns and bullets and bombs anymore. Wars are fought strategically nowadays. Wars are fought with technology. And having China that close must be very threatening to the US. Not only that, Jamaica is a money pot, right? And Another question I found very funny was when somebody said in the comment section, so hold up, you mean to tell me that Jamaicans have forgotten what happened in Jamaica and the alphabet people have come out to admit it these days, like what happened with Bob Marley and what happened in the 70s, what happened with our election, what happened under Edward Seaga and Michael Manley, and what happened with some covert operations that went down and why they felt the need to do all that, and then the influx of guns and the destabilization of Jamaica and all that other stuff. Remember, I told you, I said, you're going to have to read between the lines of some of what I'm saying. All right? So, with that said, a lot of people are saying this. Listen, we have already exhausted our options. We've already tried with one, and we see the results that we have. Now we are trying with another one, and we're getting way more results, and one is jealous that the other one is able to yield more results. In other words then, we have a saying in Jamaica, I see, thief never love to see thief with long bag. And Jamaica is in a tough place. Jamaica is in what we call between a rock and a hard place. Let's be honest. Jamaica has been ran into the ground socioeconomically by its leaders who all seem to be money grabbers and magicians because they're able to make money disappear before it reaches where it's supposed to be, and the majority of the people of Jamaica are the ones that feel the brunt while they continue to live their top of top lifestyles. You understand? So at the end of the day, the infrastructure of Jamaica itself needs work. Okay, sometimes when I drive through certain places in Kingston, Jamaica, and saying Kingston, Jamaica is the capital. Kingston is the capital of Jamaica, right? This beautiful island. And then I drive through some places. Even when I go places like Portmore and them places there, and leaving Portmore heading back to the airport, so on and so forth. If people land in our country and they come through the Norman Manley International Airport, they would be astonished. And it wouldn't be a good astonishment. You understand? So the infrastructure needs a lot of work. And under whoever we were messing with before, one of them that's complaining now, we weren't able to get too far with that. I don't know if it was the politician them thief out the money or what, but it seems like we're getting somewhere with China. Now the thing about China is, China wants interest. Okay? Someone said that China does not want ownership of Jamaica. China wants interest. And they want huge interest. Well, I tend to think a bit different. I think when we look at ownership, we're looking at ownership in a different way. I think how we need to look at ownership is who is in a position of power governing that land. That is who owns the land. You understand? You can tell me all day that you own your house, but if I am able to come into your house, make all my rules and regulations and you have to follow them, then I own your house. Technically, the house is in your name, but in reality, I'm the one that owns it. And I do see that happening in Jamaica, because when your highways and byways are owned by someone outside of your country, then you have lost ownership, right? And I believe that Jamaica has, 50 years to pay back China for these highways and byways that they've built. And there are many other constructions going on in Jamaica. I just drove the other day from let me see, I drove from Westmoreland through Montego Bay, took a long route, and ended up in all the way back to Portmore. And the amount of construction that I saw, but the amount of Chinese people and Chinese equipment that I saw, the work is evident that they're doing magnificent work, building up Jamaica for sure, putting their stamp on Jamaica for sure. It's just like when the British take over a place, right? Like, for instance, in Jamaica, if you look, you could see all the colonial influenced churches in Jamaica. All those old churches, the Moravian church and all these churches, you notice the construction of those churches. It tells you that the British was here. That is one way that an empire stamps its property. Now, in the future, whether they lose that property or not, if they lose the property in the future, whoever comes later on will still see these monuments, these structures, and they will still be able to tell that, okay, this was built by the British. Okay, that right there, that was built by the Chinese. So, is China just stamping Jamaica all over in the process? Does China really want to own Jamaica, or is China just doing good business in Jamaica? I myself am confused. So I look at it like this, right? They call us black people. And then you have Chinese people, which they call yellow people. Now, it might be a racially offensive term to some. I'm just telling you what it's out there and how it's said. They call Spanish people, Hispanics, brown people. They're referred to as brown people. So you have black, yellow, and brown people, and you have white people. Those four colors represent nation of people, race of people, or races. So you have black, yellow, brown, and white. Black and white has always had issues. Look at it this way. Black and white has always had issues. Black has never been able to own outright anything or to forge ahead anything without white sabotaging it and mashing it up if they don't have a piece of it. And there are many examples in history. You could take Black Wall Street in the United States of America, for example. So when people say stuff like, you guys are always complaining, so why don't you have your own banks and your own schools? You claim that these people do so much to you, but yet still you send your children to their institutions for them to educate your children. And it sounds crazy. You claim these people do so much to you, but you still turn up to their hospitals to have your babies and to get your health care. And it sounds crazy. So how come you guys don't have your own hospitals? You don't have your own schools? How come you don't have your own anything? Your own banks? It is because history shows that those things were established and they were thriving. They were the wealthiest, and they literally dropped bombs on it. So if we are to forge ahead with just ourselves, that's blacks, whites have always found a way to sabotage it, right? And maybe it's time that black and yellow and brown, because the airport in Jamaica is owned by people. Both airports are owned by people that we call brown people, the Mexicans, right? Or Hispanics. So you have black, brown, and yellow, colored people now working together, right? And white doesn't seem to be so much in the equation. So it seems like white is a bit jealous. But check it out. Within this, I wouldn't call this a brotherhood, but within this alliance of black, yellow, and brown, the yellow has the power to protect its investment military-wise and financially. So it is probably in the best interest to try and see what the colored group can do now, which is the black, the yellow, and the brown, and keep the white involved as little as possible. I want to know if you understand that reasoning right there just now. Now, somebody says that the Chinese have been giving poor countries around the globe, it's called world domination, Africa and the Caribbean. And for sure, these places, they have resources, and the Chinese are after the resources, the natural resources. But in exchange for the natural resources, they are building up the infrastructure. You understand? So I see where some people are very jittery, and a lot of Jamaicans are saying, oh, get the Chinese out, because they might take over with thing. And it has to do with the way how the Jamaican government has structured certain dealings. Like, for instance, one person pointed out that a Chinese businessman or businesswoman can come from China, come to Jamaica, open up a business tax-free. For the first 5 years, they will operate tax-free. And after that 5 years, what they've been doing is they have employed the practice of changing the business name at about year 4, 4.5, and reapplying, so they get another 5 years to go tax-free. And they just continue to do this couple of years. So they can be in business for 20, 30 years, completely tax-free, whereas a Jamaican person cannot do that. We are taxed straight out the gate. So our government have given them these incentives. I don't know how true it is. If I'm wrong, tell me I'm wrong, but this is what I've been told, okay? And I don't like to talk things where I don't know. And even when I see it in writing, I prefer to hear it from someone who is actually in business. So if you're not in business and you don't know that side here, don't talk up, okay? Because you know, on the internet, everybody is highly educated and highly involved. And then when you meet them in person, them don't know a doggone thing. Anyway, Fanatic says, if I'm not mistaken, that's how the transatlantic slave trade started, that brought us as slaves from Africa throughout other parts of the globe. Be careful when you let the devil in your backyard. He will come with a helping hand and a smile. But at what cost will it end up costing when he comes for his pound of flesh? The Jamaican government should have been taking care of their own business. If they were not so licky and greedy, sucking out the people and the country, then they would not need to turn to other countries for help. Jamaica is too rich of an island in culture and resources, because other islands are managing their own with less. God bless Jamaica and the people, because that's the only thing that will save us, not the government. All right. And to that comment, I say, even big, wealthy America reached out to help from other nations, in particular, China itself. So someone said, SouFlo, don't you think it's kind of funny how when the USA economy tanked a few years ago, turned upside down, all went bankrupt, China jumped in and bailed them out. And the US is now indebted to China in the trillions of dollars. So how is the US warning us about borrowing from China or getting help from China when they themselves in times of need went to China for help, and when China was helping them, they had nothing to say? So it seems a bit funny, but like I said, in Jamaica we have a saying, thief never love fissy thief with long bag. Alright? Now, Ricky876 says, from what I've been seeing happening in other countries that China have a hand in, they never treat the natives good. And also, America do not want the China to have domain too close to home. If China should take over Jamaica, then you know the USA ships cannot travel into the Caribbean Sea. There's a lot involved here. People, please read and do some research. Jamaica, you better watch out. So, that is a good angle to look at stuff from. I never really thought of it like that. Deco Lord says that the US should just come to the negotiation table with Jamaica, because at the end of the day, Jamaica is a sovereign nation. The thing is that why the US doesn't want China in their backyard, because they know that China will use the port to dock military ships and say that they are protecting their interest. And most of this Jamaican people, where a chat say, is just straight up dummies. Them only think with the right side of them brain. But US is 100% right about what they are saying about China's movement. Check out 60 Minute Aussie and look how China are roll in the South Pacific. Jamaica is up next. This person left a link for us to check out under the video that I did that was titled Jamaica sold to the highest bidder. USA warns them, but no one has clicked that link. Somebody said Jamaica is treasured like a shining jewel by the two superpowers, but why? And what Jamaica have so that them want so bad? How about strategic positioning? So one time, right, somebody told me that what rules the world is God. God controls the world. God rules the world. I know right now somebody has stopped them Bible and I say, yes, God controls the world. Yeah, that's not the kind of God they were talking about. And I'm sure other enthusiastic intellects have seen this documentary. God was used as an acronym for gold, oil, and drugs. G-O-D. Gold, oil, and drugs. That's God. And Jamaica is at a strategic point to funnel a whole lot of drugs from South America, its origin, into the biggest drug market in the world. Are you getting what I'm saying? So whoever controls those ports will be the boss of one of those words or one of those letters of that acronym that makes up who rules this world. Gold, oil, and drugs is God. Drugs is big business. Okay? Drugs is big business, and it is known that the biggest market in the world for drugs, the insatiable appetite that the United States of America has. And Jamaica is strategically positioned. I'm going to say it again. Jamaica is strategically positioned to be that transfer point. All right? So that probably could be that. Now, I'm going to read one more comment and then I'm going to end this video, and I encourage you to leave your comments in the comment section below. Here we go. If Jamaica could pay them back, China would not invest there. China is not giving loans for the interest. They're giving money with the intent that it will never be able to pay that money back. And the borrower becomes a slave to the lender. And if you want to know what the Chinese are looking for in Jamaica, think Cuban Missile Crisis. And he left it there. It's very interesting to think China is giving loans not because they want it to be paid back for no interest, but they're giving so much, knowing that you will not be able to pay back this amount that I'm giving you. But the fine print in this deal is that if you're not able to pay this back, I will seize ownership of your property. And once I do so, then I can make strategic movements for whatever other reasons I need to. Very interesting. Angela Baker says Jamaica is America's doorstep. China is different political system. America had a problem with communism in Cuba for 50 years or more. Cuba, like Jamaica, a small tiddler. China is like a dragon whale. The land, I think, is greater than the USA. USA don't need communism on their doorsteps in any shape, any form. USA will punish Jamaica in the future or at some point, no doubt, economically. Very interesting. And the last comment from one of my favorite persons on SouFLoTV, WWE Network/Wellness, said, SouFLoTV, desperation will make even the most beautiful, eligible, educated, and wealthy woman turn, she said, wealthy woman turn idiot, dunce, and get pimped out by a wolf in sheep clothing, aka a knight in shining armor, riding on a Trojan horse, aka who is only treating her nice to eventually bareback screw her dumb, desperate, thirsty over in the in the end. Same is happening to Mama Jamaica, that's happening to Mama Africa. Pure hold down and take way off with people them. We place the harvesting off with picnic them. Lately, new increase in kidnapping of newborns. Are we really this dumb? Overall, let's talk about that for real. Let's talk about human trafficking and let's talk about organ harvesting. Big things. Overall, the US is right on this one, but the people need to be aware of China, USA, JLP, and PMP. That's a four-headed dragon. When Obama came here, he warned us too, but he basically said it about both the USA and China. We need to be very wise to make sure all we do is negotiate it properly and a win-win for the benefit of the people. Look up and listen to Obama's speech to the UTech students and the answer to him about China. He warned us about China, USA, and anyone that's going to exploit us. He was sincerely speaking to us, not with a president hat. At a closed meeting, word has it that he made some recommendations, and even when he was no longer president, he would be happy to consult and assist whoever was in power. To date, there are no signs that any of those recommendations were ever implemented or that he has been in talks with Andrew. Now, I am going to say this to you, my sister. Don't be naive, because if a United States president comes to Jamaican soil and give a lecture, you best believe that he has a book of things that he cannot say even if he wanted to say. And he must be here in the interest of the United States of America. She went on to say that it's hard not to curse Badwood, but our dunce government, JLP and PMP, even, which is Holness and Simpson, even talk like them slow and retarded. 7 years now I am home, and it is getting better and better for China and worse for the average Jamaicans. 1, organ harvesting. See it there? On top of it all, since the 1940s, look it up, China is #1 organ harvesters in the world. Over the years, hundreds of thousands of missing young adults and children. The ports in control of China hand, who is gonna know when live cargo is being exported? Number 2, poisoning our people. Most food import is coming from China. China-owned supermarkets and wholesalers. Who is inspecting what is being sold to us? And the Chinese are very, very disrespectful to their workers and customers, and they pay zero taxes. Now let's talk about loan sharking. Chinese debt will be worse than the IMF, even if it's only 3.8%. Construction takeover. Top Jamaican contractors, i.e. like Matalan and them, I heard with my own ears complaining about losing big-time contracts to Chinese and Spanish so-called investors. Also, listen to what is happening in Africa. It soon reached Jamaica. Africa is a large continent of black people with lots of natural resources. Same with little Jamaica. We are essentially already being quartered and eaten. China swallowed our head. USA, our feet. Spain, our right side. Mexico, our left side. And the UK ate our belly long time. While our people are paying taxes on poison food, toxic goods, and clothing, and the Chinese sitting around like John Crow eating all the valuable spoils. If you are going to negotiate with all these devils, would it not be smart to 1, ask for loan forgiveness? What we owe plus interest is less valuable than what they are getting. Most Jamaicans undervalue our country and our oceans. Ever since, for example, I paid less than $300,000 US for a piece of oceanfront old place that everybody walked past and ignored, and because of where it is and what is happening next door, it is now worth $800,000 US plus. A Chinese investor came looking to buy it or to partner with me, but sent a Jamaican to talk to me. But I did my research and I said hell no to the BBC no. Gonna take my time, draw me rotted partner, need be work a third online business and build it my dang self. They can yam it all. Not everyone here is a dunce and self-serving as our government. 2, include renovation, establishing and equipping of at least a mini hospital in all 14 parishes. 3, renovating the schools and creating school transportation systems. 4, establish a DNA and crime database to deter criminals, including all Chinese and foreigners, plus returnees and deportees with business and work permits on our island. 4, basic things can start happening in 1 and done in 5 years. Technically, we paid for it already. See links to all my references in the reply. You might want to do some follow-up stories. Alright, and I'm going to leave that one right there. Somebody said, to be honest, I rather China than America. America is the worstest of all the countries in shifting away from America now. I'm shifting away from America now. The amount of countries under sanction from America causing sufferation. Alright. This video has gone on way too long, and I want you to leave your comments in the comment section below. We will be doing a part 2 to this. Alright? It's SouFLoTV. Talk up, talk up. It's our life in our time. I'm out. Peace.